Hello, it is Rose, and I am back with a mini update on the garden. It's still a bit early to start my bi-weekly garden tours, but I've been cleaning things up. I've been working really hard, and it's been unseasonably warm, so I've been able to get out here earlier in the season than normal, and so most of my cleanup is done. I'm over here by my shed, and this particular patch, which is here, and even I have some things planted back there in that dirt corner. This is where I plant things that are low maintenance for the most part, because this is the furthest point away from my water source, which is at the house. And so usually I plant things here that really don't need a lot of tending to and can withstand a little bit of drought. So I do have a fig tree here, and I have 3 fig trees. There's one here, there's one on that side of the shed, and then there's one over here. And this is the first year that my fig trees did not die all the way back to the ground. So I'm hopeful that they're still alive. I mean, they were still alive when they came back last season, but because they died all the way to the ground, there wasn't enough time for them to get big enough to produce fruit. They set some fruit, but it got cold. We had our chill date before they could mature, and that was the end of that. But I did talk to someone that I know that has a large garden and has fig trees in my area, and he assured me that these figs should be able to survive through Michigan winters. I mean, I think these are like Chicago Hardies, at least one of them is, which gets colder than we do here. But so he says I should be able to get some fruit off of them. So we will see what happens. It looks dead now, but you can scratch a little branch, see if it's green under there. And that one is green under the bark, even though it looks dead. So let's just keep our fingers crossed on that. This is where I also plant all of my Sweet William, because Sweet William is a biennial, so it takes 2 years for it to flower. It is a great cut flower for cut flower arrangements. It lasts a long time. It blooms a long time. So as you can see, there are little pockets of it all over, and I tend to plant the bulk of it here. I have a little on the other side, but I plant the bulk of it here because it has to go for 2 years, and I'm not that worried about it being not in bloom or unsightly, because usually it's just this mound of green until season 2. So what I do is I start Sweet William every fall and every spring. And so I have some that will overwinter outside because I plant them in the ground in the fall. I start them inside and plant them out in the fall because they're cool season flowers. And then I'll start some in the spring and plant them out to kind of make sure I have some every year is the idea. I also had extra bulbs that I think I must have put over here because I see them coming up. I don't know if those might be alliums, because I did have alliums over here last year. There's more Sweet William back there. Luckily, Sweet William isn't too picky. It tends to do okay in part shade as well as full sun. So that's what's going on there. And yeah, I think those are alliums for the most part, these little bulbs that are coming up. I love the alliums. They make good cut flowers too. The crocuses are kind of winding down now. They're getting pretty old. I also planted a lot of sedum here last year because sedum is a drought tolerant plant, and it makes a pretty cut flower when it blooms. This is, I think, the Autumn Joy, which is the standard one with the big pink balls on the top with flowers. And then there's also, I believe that is a peony. I'm thinking. I could be wrong. But I think that's a peony, because my peonies typically die back down to the ground, and then these little purple or reddish sprouts started to come up. I have yet to have a peony bush bloom because I've only had mine for about 2 years. It takes about 3 years. Last year I did get some leaf growth, but that was about it, and then it died back down to the ground. So, and it looks like there's still a few Get my shadow out of the way. Looks like there's still a few tulips over here from last year, even though I thought I pulled them all out. But I must have missed some, so we'll see if they flower. I wasn't sure what type of tulip I planted over here because I really didn't take good notes on that. And so I just pulled them all out because I wanted to start over with varieties that perennialize well. So I got rid of all the other ones in case they just didn't flower, because a lot of them have a tendency not to flower too well after the first year. And I have planted a ton of perennial ones, and I'll show you those in a second. Oh goodness. That's a mini rose bush there, which is coming back. And then, let's see, over here you can see little clumps of tulips, I believe. Again, those are from last year. And then over here I had a lot of lilies as well, so those should be coming back. Today I have to spray my trees. I should have done it probably weeks ago, but it kept raining, and then it was too cold because it has to be at least, I don't know, 50 degrees or something when you spray, and then it can't rain for 24 hours. And so I just now getting a break. It's supposed to get really cold again on Sunday, but I think today and tomorrow where it'll give me a chance to spray them and for it to dry. It's a preventative. Okay, so over here in my window boxes I have sedum because again I need something drought tolerant over here. It's far away from the water, and these boxes are so small that they dry out really quickly. But sedum seems to return. It's a hardy flower that seems to return, even though they're in these tiny boxes, which I'm sure they freeze, but they still come back and they don't require a lot of water, so it works out. I can't think of the name of it. It's not one that goes crazy. It might be a proven winners even. I can't think of the name, but that's what's there. And it's, as you can see, it's leafing out, so that should be pretty. It has these sweet smelling, I think it's jasmine, I'm not sure, I'll look it up and put it on the screen. It has these sweet smelling yellow flowers. Honey, maybe honeysuckle, something like that. Privet, which this is its second year, and I'm looking forward to this getting big. Privet makes it's just a nice looking hedge or a shrub, and I think it looks good in a cut flower bouquet. Of course, these leaves are all old, that's why they're yellow, but you can see like there's a lot of new growth in there that's starting to come up. So, and for some reason I got onions that keep popping up over here. I think I dumped out a pot that had that I had planted onion seeds in that didn't come up, and I think that's where all these onions are. But this year and last year I had random onions popping up, and I just pull them when they get big enough and I eat them. So this is my new perennial area. So over here I used to grow just vegetables usually, and then a few flowers, but now I've turned most of this into perennials. There are, I don't know if you can see that, they're still pretty tiny, but they're coming out. You see all of that is tulips. I don't know how many hundreds of tulips, but they're all supposed to be ones that perennialize. They're single bloom, and they're the traditional tulip when you think of a tulip. So they're pretty straightforward, but if I can get them to perennialize, that'll be great, because it costs a lot of money to buy tulip bulbs en masse, and I don't want to have to do that every year. I also have a lot of alliums in with these tulips. So all the way from there over to here, this back half are all tulips and alliums. And then I have my perennial herbs over here that come back every year. And chives, that one is so reliable. I use it all the time when I cook. Sage, that's very reliable. And I planted a bunch of garlic, so over here is just a bunch of garlic that will, some of it started coming up, like up there, back here. Some of it will soon start to come up, but there's a ton of garlic in here. It's still all looking very barren because, you know, the season hasn't really gotten started yet. More herbs, sage, I got some tarragon over here, some oregano, I believe. And then this is my little asparagus patch, which I don't see any activity yet, which I'm surprised, because asparagus likes cool weather, and this stuff grew wonderfully last year. This is the third year. So last year it put out a few asparagus spears, but I did not cut them because I'm trying to get them established and get the roots going. This year, the third year, I should be able to cut some if they come up. But it was a huge stand last year. It turned into this huge, tall, 5-foot grassiness. So it should have stored away a lot of energy for the winter. So that is what's happening in this little segment. And I'm not gonna do the whole yard because I want to make these shorter because I get to talking. These videos go on for hours. I moved the fence out because I just wanted to incorporate these shrubs into this bed, plus to keep the dogs away from them, because you know dogs like peeing on shrubs for whatever reason. But anyway, these are hollies. Those two down there are hollies with the red berries, you know, like Christmas time holly. And the rest of these were really just extras that I had when I was buying shrubs for the front and stuff like that. I had extras, so I just started planting them back here. So these are just boxwoods. And then down this way, there's a couple more boxwoods, and then the last two are hydrangeas. And I can't even tell you the variety. I will put that on the screen as well. But they're the same variety. One's a white and one's a blush. I do know that. So, this is my sugar tip Rose of Sharon. Another thing I have to do is relabel everything, because my labels get taken away, moved around, and everything in the winter. And so, once it gets warm, I relabel all of the perennials so I can know what I'm talking about when I'm out here. This is my golden cherry tree, which I am hoping I get cherries this year. It looks beautifully budded. You know, my fruit trees are about 3 years old, so they're not that old. You know, it takes 3 years, 3 to 5 years to get fruit. So I'm hoping this is the year. I moved this big raised bed that I had over by my deck back here. Just because I wanted to clear out the area by my deck, and I'm going to put my little swinging chair over there. But I put this over here. I had to empty out all the dirt first in order to move it because it's huge. It's like 2 by 8. And so then I carried it over here, me and my son, and then he filled it up with dirt again for me. And then I have the cold frame top there. So I'm going to plant something that needs to be kind of protected in there. I'm not sure what yet. I have to plant out some things soon. St. Patrick's Day is coming, and that's my signal to start planting. So I have some cool weather things that I need to get out, including a bunch of ranunculus corms that will probably go over in those new raised beds that I just put up. But this is my blackberry row. Really, it's mostly blackberries. I think there's a marionberry, a boysenberry, and a loganberry over here as well. But the rest are all blackberries, and they have been producing. They produced in year 2, I believe. And yeah, the blackberries are really good. What I did was I had some blackberry bushes that had thorns, and I ripped those all out because I got tired of getting stuck with those thorns. Even though in my opinion, the berries off of the bushes with thorns taste better. I sacrificed a little bit of taste to have a little bit easier time of harvesting and pruning. And so now I have mostly thornless. The only things that have thorns are these two, because they don't, or these 3, because they don't come in a thornless that I could find. The loganberry doesn't have thorns there, but the boysenberry and the marionberry, just very tiny, all the branches broke off, they do have thorns. But given that they're a special type of berry, I'm willing to deal with that. And then the second row is empty. This is where I had dahlias last year. I'm not sure what I'm gonna put here this year. Not dahlias again. I like to rotate things, but something that is a flower, an annual flower, but probably something that goes kind of grows in a shrub format. So probably that's going to be zinnias, I'm thinking, perhaps. I do still have grapes. I got quite a few grapes. And I think I made grape jelly, actually. I have like 2 or 3 Concord grapes, and then I have yellow and red eating grapes. So there are 8 grapevines over here. And they're something to take care of. They grow so vigorously once it gets hot. And it's all this leafy growth, and you have to keep pruning, because otherwise, if you get too much moisture, too much leafy growth, then it just creates a situation where you get powdery mildew and all of these issues. So I'm constantly thinning that out. This is my flower patch, which doesn't have much in it yet, obviously, but my cool season flowers, and there are a couple of perennials that are coming back over here. Excuse the weeds. I weeded once, but that was about 3 weeks ago, and now the weeds are coming back again. These are delphiniums, I believe. And then, I can't tell you what these all are, but I planted all of these, larkspur and things like that. They're cool season flowers, so with a couple of weeds thrown in. But, let's see. Like most of it's larkspur, like this here. You can see that. Okay. And then here's my other little patch of Sweet William. And then over here, I did plant a lot of bells of Ireland, which I love, in a cut flower bouquet. And then dill, I believe a little bit of that. I'm not doing coriander this year. Sorry about that. The dogs were all barking. So I got some columbine over here. That is another biennial for me. Takes 2 years, so I got a little patch of it here. I do love it. It's not tall enough for a cut flower bouquet, but it's just so dainty and pretty. I usually put it in the little bitty bud vases and put them in the bathroom or someplace like that. This is more sage. I got a lot of sage. That is lavender. And then over here I have yarrow in this row, and a number of other cool season flowers that I cannot tell you exactly what they are now. There was like a little mini row here before the fence got put in, and that's now gone. Right up, it was like a half a row right up against the fence. So that's gone, which is fine with me. I like having the fence here, and you know, it makes it very simple. I have 4 rows here now in this section. 4 rows in this section, and this section is always all cut flowers. Okay. Over here, let's see what's going on over here. This is this whole thing, minus the first one, which is a rose. It's actually an edible rose. Luckily the sign didn't blow away, because it's called Flavorette Honey Apricot. It's from Proven Winners, and all roses are edible, but this one is supposedly bred to taste more like fruit. Honey apricot, but according to the name. So, and then I have one hellebore over here, probably because I didn't have room for it anywhere else. But these little sticks that have not started to really do anything yet. This one you can see has just a couple of little leaves on them. These are all miniature berries, miniature blueberries, and I think raspberries. Where did I get them from? It might have been Stark Brothers, but they had these ones that are supposed to be suitable for patio containers and stuff like that. I thought this would be a great spot for those. I can never have too many blueberry bushes because I haven't been super successful with blueberries. They like acidic soil. They're particular. I've harvested a few, like a handful, over the last 2 years, but nothing to write home about. This is another blueberry. And what else I got over here? Chives are coming up. I plant herbs kind of sprinkled everywhere because I use herbs a lot. Oh my gosh, look at this hellebore. This is a new variety, because most of the ones I had were like a green chartreuse color. Look at that. It's like a deep burgundy. Oh my god, that's so pretty. I think that's the first time that one's flowered, because usually I buy hellebores as bare roots if I can, because they're cheaper. Hellebores are not inexpensive. So, you know, more blueberries over here. I got a number of blueberry plants. Where you see all these little cages, these are all peonies. I don't know how many peonies, at least a dozen or more. But I have yet, obviously, to harvest any because they're not 3 years old yet. This is the second year. But what happens so far is that they die back to the ground every year. So that's why I have to keep these cages so that I remember where they are and so that the dogs don't trample them. But then what you'll see is these little shoots. Either they'll be burgundy, red, purplish, but they start to come up. And so I've already gone around and kind of marked everywhere that I saw little shoots coming up, and that's where all of these crates, these cages are. Even though you can't see it necessarily, they all have tiny shoots sticking up out of the ground. Yeah. And then here, this is a clematis, a purple one, that's coming back. And that one was so pretty. You know, that was it was under $4. It was $3 and something at Walmart, of all places. And I just grabbed it because it was so inexpensive. And I had this trellis, this tall, I don't know, 7-foot tall trellis, and I wanted something there. And it was just so pretty. First year I put it in, last year it bloomed and gave me, I don't know, it probably had like 6 flowers on it. And I was surprised. I thought it would take 2 years for it to bloom. So yeah, this is my strawberry patch here. I try to keep it mostly in the grow bags, but then what happens is it makes runners. And then what I'll do is I'll cut off the runners and dig them up to fill in gaps where old plants have died off because they're in bags. In the winter, I do sit all of these bags on the ground because they stay warmer on the ground versus elevated. I elevate them during the growing season because, one, it's easier to prune and harvest and all of that if they're elevated, and two, it helps to keep the slugs off of them. Slugs are horrible in my yard, and they will eat up my berries. They'll chew holes in each one, like a little hole, and ruin the whole thing. So I got to keep the slugs away. And last year, I got so many berries because these are all ever-bearing, and so seems like every other day or every couple of days I was coming out here getting a nice big bowl full of strawberries for myself, and that was the perfect amount. As you can see, more peonies, hellebores. The bees have been all over these hellebores or wasps or whatever they are already. I don't know how they find them. It's amazing to me how they find one flower in the midst of nothing. I assume by scent. Okay, so these are, I believe, my currants. I have pink currants and white currants, and they're very delicious. I made jam or jelly, currant jelly, out of them last season. I still have it in my pantry because it takes me a long time to get through jam. More of the hellebores. I love hellebores, and actually I just ordered a bunch of hellebore starts. They now sell the starts from this company where I usually get my plugs, and I just ordered, I mean, you have to order these things in multiples when you order plugs. So I think it was 32 or something like that came in a batch, so I will be trying to find room for all those. But you can see everything is pretty much starting to put on growth. Look at that. Ooh, these are this might be gooseberries. These are thorny. Yeah, these are gooseberries. Very prickly, sharp thorns, but it's a good berry. And I made jam out of that one too. And then there's a blueberry back there. Another peony. This is an Andina, which is on the fence in my zone 6. 6A is where I am. That one's on the fence in terms of survival. It's a little bit protected here in the backyard. So I'm hoping, because it's a beautiful shrub. It's just, I didn't get it to use it for anything in particular. I just thought it was beautiful. So I got this red colored one, and then I have a lemon lime one, which may be this here. That one may have died all the way back, but it's a lemon lime Nandina or something like that, and it's a bright green color. What else do I have? Josta berries. I have 2 of those. That's one, and then there's one over there. And what can I say about the jostaberry? I don't have anything to say about it right now. I don't have anything to say about it right now. There was, I can't remember exactly how it tasted. I'm sure it gave me berries last year. I can't remember if I enjoyed them or what. There was one that I did pull out, aronia berry. I did not like that at all. I grew it because it's supposed to have like health benefits or medicinal uses, and you're supposed to kind of make it into a syrup and take it that way. And it was disgusting. It had this very strong taste of sulfites. Like that tannin taste that's in red wine, but it was like times 10, so I could not drink it. So those two came out. The Josta berries, I must have enjoyed that berry if it gave me fruit, because I would have pulled it out too. So we'll see what happens with it this year. This comes back every year. This is an echinacea, a purple one, the standard purple. It's so reliable. Here's the lemon lime nandina. So I don't know what that other thing was, but this is it. Look how pretty it is. You see the light green and the dark green. Now what might happen is, because it's a lot of shade over here, it might not get as bright green as it should. Usually when things are chartreuse in color, the sun plays a big part in that, and they tend to need a little bit more sun. So we'll see what happens with it. Few call it not aronia berry, like lingonberries, and I do make jam out of that too, or jelly, and it's very good. But I only got like 4 little tiny ones. Those stay very small. They don't get more than maybe a foot tall. I have been wanting to add more, but I don't think I could find more. I think they were always sold out every time I went online to look for them. There's another chive plant back here, and then there is lemon balm in here. Maybe that's what that was over there. But I got a couple of lemon balms, and I do like that scent. I don't use it that much, but I like the smell of it, and it deters, herbs and spices, things that have strong scent. They deter certain pests. They definitely deter rodents, and so I like kind of sprinkling those in and having them around. So these tulips are from last year. Obviously, I didn't pull all of these out. And lo and behold, some started coming up. So we'll see if those flower. And that's all that I have that's actually planted or growing right now. I have not planted any annuals yet. That is coming. Like I said, I probably will start planting things out this weekend if it stays dry, relatively warm. This is a, what's the name of it? It's one that gets really big and wild, and that's why it's in this pot. Mock orange. So yeah, that's why I put it in this pot, because it gets big and sprawling, and I want to keep it contained. But mock orange has these beautiful white clusters of flowers on it, and so I just wanted that around. I think it'll be very pretty. My 2 raised beds, I am still working on it. I do have the beds up. They are filled with dirt. The ladder is there because I started working on the trellis. You see how tall that trellis is? It's up to the roof line. And I have the big loops. Now there are like, I don't even know, 50 little short pieces that go in between the 2 hoops and join those sections together on both sides. So that's a tedious job that will require probably a couple of hours, 3 hours of just tedious work. And so I'm trying to wait till it gets a little bit warmer to do that, because it's still pretty nippy, and I don't want to be outside for 3 hours doing tedious work when it's cold. So the rest of the yard is kind of in dishevelment. I'm still putting things in different places and figuring out what all is going to go where. I had 2 I don't even know, arborvitae there that I dug up when I put those big beds there, and I did put them in pots because I certainly couldn't bear to throw them out after having grown them for the last 2 years from nothing. Tiny little 3-inch pots. So if I find an empty spot in the landscape somewhere, probably in the front, then I would transplant those. But I have a lot of growing containers, so that's good. That's probably going to be where I put, like I said, a lot of things that like need to be really babied like the ranunculus, because they don't like a lot of moisture, they don't like it hot, so I'll probably put those there where they can be protected. And probably a lot of my food I will put in these containers or raised beds, because it helps keep pests away, and it helps me to more easily harvest and weed. So, and since I'm eating it, that's probably what I will do. But that's all I have to say about what's going on in the backyard. More little extra shrubs, arborvitae, and boxwoods to go in places if I need them to. But that's what's going on now. Now today I'm gonna spray. I'm on my lunch break. I'm still working, but after work I'm gonna spray all of my trees with my horticultural oil and fungicide, which I do 3 times a year. So if I can at least get that done today, I will be happy. And that's probably all I'll have time to get done today. But that is an update on what's going on in the backyard. All right, until next time, bye-bye.